have Coach Fickell on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, okay, good. Thanks, Coach. We're joined by Cincinnati coach Luke Fickell. The Bearcats are 1-1. Cincinnati was in action this past Saturday at Ohio State. Ohio State won the game 42-0. Up next for Cincinnati, they're back at home this Saturday to face Miami of Ohio at Nippert Stadium in the annual Battle for the Victory Bell. That will be at noon Eastern and will be on ESPNU. Coach, thanks so much for joining us on the call today. If you just take a minute to tie up the trip to Ohio State, please. And we expect to see you as you're back at home for the rivalry game against Miami, Ohio.
I don't know what there is to tie up. I think you explained it right there with 42-0. So I don't know how much tie up there is. We're moved on, and this week's about Miami, and I think it's the oldest rivalry west of the Allegheny, and it's big. And our guys got to make sure. It's been we've had 13 straight wins in this rivalry game, and every single one of them have been hard fought. And the last 2 years, obviously, that I've been here, that we've played it. It's been maybe 2 or 3 plays that have determined the difference in the game, and regardless of who was better team. First year they were a better team, and we ended up winning. Last year, I believe we were the better team, but it was only 2 plays or 3 plays that really were the difference in the ball game. So it's going to be a hard-fought battle that we're going to get their best shot.
We'll take questions for Coach Luke Fickell. Please hit *1 on your telephone keypad. We'll put you in the queue, and then the operator will introduce you.
And we'll go to Leo Haggerty with It's Sports Magazine.
Good morning, Coach.
How are we doing, Leo?
I'm doing fine, Coach. A couple rules questions today.
Yeah.
Has there been any rule change this year that's really affected your team?
A rules change. We got called for a blindside block. I think there was a new rule change that if there's a defensive penalty and there's a pass completed down the field, that they add the yardage to the end of the play of the pass, like they did in last week's game. No, I take that back. That was a mistake on their part. That's not a rule. I'm sorry. No, I don't know that there's really a rule that has affected us much different, other than we've got to be careful of the blindside block.
Mm-hmm. Coach, last question. Thank you for your time. RPOs have become a staple of many offensive schemes because linemen are allowed to go 3 yards down the field on a pass play. Are you okay with that, or do they need to adjust that rule?
No, I think that it's a really hard rule to officiate. I think you just got to cut it off and say if it's 2 or 3 yards, but I think by putting, some stipulations on that, it makes it more difficult on the officials. I think when they're bang, I think it's okay. I think when it's held longer, I think we just got to be careful because it's makes a real big disadvantage. But whatever rule they make, I'm good with. I just think that we got to do a better job of making the rules so that the officials aren't on call to be able to tell whether the guy's 2 yards or 3 yards down the field, because it's not fair to them.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Moving on, we'll go to Fletcher Page with Cincinnati Enquirer.
Hey, Luke. How's it going?
How are we doing, Fletcher?
I'm good. I'm wondering, do you think it's advantageous that you've got a rivalry game coming up this week to sort of get past what happened on Saturday at Ohio State?
I think it is. I think it really is. I mean, it couldn't come at a better time. Our guys understand and respect the rivalry, and whether it's we've won for the last several years or not, it helped me get the taste out of my mouth that we got to move on. So I think it's the same way for our guys as well. They came in here Sunday understanding and knowing what this week is all about. We talked about it more in camp than we had about any other game, and I think that's what was important. We didn't talk about it in camp. The Ohio State game, we talked about the UCLA game, obviously, as that was week 1, but we didn't talk anything about the Ohio State game. But we talked about the rivalry week just to make sure guys understand and respect the tradition that we have to uphold.
So some of the things you guys talk about this game is the history or tradition, or what are some of the things that maybe you guys address?
Yeah, it's more the history, and it's not like we're studying the wins and losses and things like that. Obviously, it goes all the way back to Jimmy Nippert and how the stadium is named in his last football game, and Not that this is war or anything, but how he gave up his life ended. That was the last thing. But I think the understanding of what rivalries are really about, whether you grew up here, whether you truly know the history of it. I mean, I grew up in Ohio and didn't know the history of the rivalry, but I respect the hell out of it. And when you become a part of it, the worst thing you could ever do is not respect a rivalry, whether you know or understand or even can figure out why. It is, and rivalries are what make college football great, and so the respect is what it's all about.
Mm-hmm. You guys had more bad news with Jared Dokes and his knee injury, and I know with James and Chuck. And when you have a run like that, I know there's different circumstances for each of those knee injuries, but
yep.
Does that give you a chance to maybe look at strength and conditioning or think about what you guys are doing as a whole, just to make sure there's not, something there that's a trend?
You know what? We look at a lot of things. We look at, what we do strength conditioning wise, how we train. Even goes all the way down to the types of shoes that we wear. Things like that you just start to say, okay, let's, we don't want to be ignorant. If there's a pattern here and things that we got to try to see, we call around a lot. We've had some foot issues before. We've had knee issues. And we just try to do our best job at, taking in our data and calling around to other people. We know there's some things that we deal with that are different, meaning we always are on turf. So we're just trying to figure out if there's anything that we're not noticing and seeing so that we can adapt and change for the health of our kids.
Mm-hmm. And then lastly, do you have an update on Kyrie? I know that was a really scary situation. It seemed like things were pretty positive after the game, but...
Yeah, he's back in there with us, showering. He was cleared, obviously to be back with us and things like that, and was cleared yesterday. He is, going to see some people today and try to find out and see what the long-term issues or situations could be, and then we're going to have to make some decisions. But nothing has been done. I know there's some big meetings today for him and our medical staff.
Awesome. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Fletcher.
Take one more.
Moving on. Thank you. And we'll go to Justin Williams with The Athletic.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
Justin, what are we doing?
Pierce had another deep ball on Saturday,
yep.
but also showed a little bit more short and intermediate abilities and routes. Just curious how you feel he's improved specifically in that aspect, and what benefit having kind of an all-around player on the outside can bring to the offense as a whole.
No, I think Pierce is continuing to grow. Last year he was a special teams guy, and in bowl practice last year he was a defensive player. We switched him back over in spring ball to the offense, and he's getting more comfortable with playing the position. I think natural strengths are being a bigger guy is some of the stuff down the field. And his ability to become a better and better receiver for himself and for us, being able to run and do some of the intermediate things so that people, realize he's not just a deep ball guy. He can, but he has the ability to do it all. And the better he gets, obviously, the better we'll get. And, his connection with Dez is going to be huge and continue to grow throughout the entire season.
Is that the challenge for him, knowing he's a big guy who can maybe run past some guys for deep balls, but to still have to focus and want to get better at the other aspects of the position?
Yeah, and that's the beauty of him. He is challenges himself in every way. You can walk in here in school and say, okay, mechanical engineering, that's not the easiest thing in the world. And so his ability to challenge himself is, I think, his greatest attribute. So whatever it is he's going to do, he's going to get better. So, yes, we challenge him, but he's one of those guys that wants to do it himself. So, he's continuing and always trying to say, hey, what can I do better, and where do I need to work to be well-rounded.
Perfect. Thanks, Coach.
Coach, thanks so much for your time this afternoon. We look forward to hearing from you once again next Monday.